So Virgil is going to be joining us here in a second from Charleston. Isn't the magic of Instagram great? You can meet people. Hey!
Hey!
How's it going?
Going good. I forgot to turn off my turn on my do not disturb sign. Hang on just a second.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Did I do it?
Awesome. It looks good to me. So
cool.
welcome. It's such an honor to be able to talk to you. And it's so fun to learn more about you and read all the reviews about all your raving fans. And I don't know if you saw the beginning of the broadcast, but I showed a little bit of your work, and I need to show a little bit more, actually. Mostly I was talking about the reviews people have left for you, and just your amazing, you've had so many features everywhere you can imagine. And anyway, so I'm just giving a quick little review.
I missed it. Thank you. I didn't know I was supposed to be on. I thought you were going to call me through live. I was trying to figure that out. But
oh yeah, it's just it's kind of random. No worries at all. Okay, I was trying to find on your. I've been looking at your website and stuff, and I found this one part that had like my favorite pictures, and then now I can't find it. It was like the one. It's like this. Where do I press? Oh wait, here's one of them. Oh my gosh, this one is like my favorite.
Oh yeah, I love that photo.
Oh my gosh, yes, you have to look at. Okay, and tell me, how do you say your last name?
So it's Bunao. It's Bunao, not later.
Bunao. Okay, that's a good way to remember it.
That's the easiest way I could say it. Most people butcher it. I get called Bueno, Bono. It's funny. I have two kids, and we always, every time we're in a situation where we're going to be introduced, whether it be my kids' award ceremony or whether getting an A honor roll or B honor roll award, we always joke around that, hey, you know what? Let's try to guess how they're going to butcher our last name.
That's so funny. So, I grew up with the last name. My maiden name is a tricky one, and so I know what that's like to always be like, it's actually, my maiden name's Maloof, and people would always be Malaf, all these weird, but yeah.
It's Filipino, so I'm Filipino, and it's fun to see people's reactions when they're like, how do you say your name? So they butcher it, so it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But thank you for having me. This is awesome. Oh, I've never been on Instagram Live. I think I did it once to try it out on my own, but this is awesome.
Yeah,
and we have people watching. That's awesome. I was kind of nervous about that.
Oh, don't worry. It's like I know everyone's always nervous, but it's like so fun. And then some people are already commenting about how much they love you. Do you see?
Oh, hi Caroline. I love Caroline. She's one of my brides from years ago.
That's so crazy that you've shot over 400 weddings. Like, when you stop to think about that, that's a lot of weddings.
It didn't really hit me until recently that I've been doing this for almost 14 years now. So yeah, we just wrapped up our 13th year of our season, and I've been around.
Wow.
I'm old. It's been mind blowing because of all the the families you've met and the brides you've met, and I mean, they become families to me.
Yes.
We help them from 6 months to 18 months in planning, and I play a huge role in planning their timeline and what we're going to do, and so I stay involved. And then I get sad when it's all over because if most of my clients are from out of town, so I don't normally see them again. We all follow each other on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm friends with them, and I love following them and seeing their families grow. So, but it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing the last 14 years. I feel like this was my purpose. This was, a lot of people have careers, have jobs. I feel like I was born to be a photographer, a wedding photographer.
This is your calling.
Yeah, it's more like it's more of a purpose than just a job.
You know, I was just reading to everyone who was on at the very beginning one of the reviews that one of your brides from earlier this year left for you on Wedding Wire. It was from Emily, who got married in June. And she said that like her wedding venue flooded and hours before the ceremony, and that she credited you for keeping her calm so that she didn't freak out because of that, what had happened. So that's amazing.
That was a very challenging day. I was on the way. We were driving to Charleston, and all of a sudden this rain came out of nowhere. It was a monsoon, and she was getting married in one of the plantations, and it was beautiful. I knew it was going to be a beautiful wedding, and there was a plan B, and the plan B I didn't particularly like for her. It was a nice covered plan B somewhere downtown, and I knew that's not what she wanted. And you know, we had to make some decisions, and I said, you know, this is a once in a lifetime thing. You know, it's up to you. This is your wedding. But if it was up to my daughter, if it was up to me, I said, screw it. Let's just take a risk and have, you know, the wedding where you originally planned it. I think it's going to work out. And, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I said, you know, what's the worst thing that could happen? You're going to have a dirty fest.
They could get a little wet, right?
Yeah, yeah. In Charleston, with recent climate change, with the climate change that's been happening a lot lately, it's you never know what the weather's going to be like. You know, it's going to be cloudy or rainy. So
sorry about my dog.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. I'm used to that. I have a little puppy.
Oh, you should.
So, used to that.
The weather's like so unpredictable, and it looks like, I don't know why it feels like this from looking at you, but it looks like it's like warm where you are.
Oh, it is. It is. I don't know. I think it's like 55, 60 degrees outside and sunny blue skies. So
nice.
Yeah. We're lucky.
I have never been to Charleston, but I have a really good friend that I've met her in real life, but I met her through Instagram, and she got engaged in Charleston, and Charleston is like her favorite city in the whole world. And so now I'm like, I have got to go visit Charleston because it just sounds like the most magical place.
You have to. There's so many things to do. There's so many things to see. You have to be here at least 3, 4, or 5 days. There's so many things to do.
And how did you end up in Charleston?
So I was born. I'm an immigrant. So I was born in the Philippines. We moved here.
I want to hear about your story.
Yeah. We moved here when I was 14. We were in a town in the Philippines where there was a big volcano eruption. It ruined our home, our factory. My mom ran a little factory where she made clothes and comforter and pillows. And there was an American base nearby. And so those were her clients. But anyway, we lived there, and the volcano erupted, and we had to evacuate. Almost died, almost got buried. But 2 months later, my mother was here in the U.S. At the time when that happened, I was with my dad with 4 other siblings. And she said, you know what, let's just move you to America, because literally it was like the end of the world. It was, I mean, just imagine a whole town of probably 1 million people buried.
That's not a town. That's a city.
It was a little, yeah. It was horrible, and they were able to get us a visa to come in, and that was the beginning of our history in America. We moved to California first, lived there, and then moved to Charleston. They moved their business in Charleston as well. So pretty much grew up here now. That was when I was 14, and
wow.
It's pretty exciting. And then I went to school here. I went to Clemson. Go Tigers. I
saw on your stories that you posted something about how they just won.
Yes, last night it was a big night. It was a big night.
I love how those Southern teams are so like loyal, and your fan base is so like die hard. I love it.
It's huge. It's huge. But you know, it's a cycle, and football football represents more than just a sport. I think football in the South represents a lot of things about, I mean, there are challenges about life and adversities and triumphs, and I think a lot of people relate to that.
Yeah.
And that football is one thing that's I think in the South a lot of people have in common with, and
Yeah.
so and that's definitely one thing that you can have conversations with about, talk about football and what's so and so is, it just really, it's an awesome conversation to have in a like a party or
Yeah.
a social setting,
And it's orange. It aren't Clemson's colors, or orange and
purple. And I
orange.
see Jennifer, one of my clients, is here. She's a big Gamecock fan. She went to the other school, USC.
Oh.
And she teases me sometimes.
Yeah, those rivalries are like hardcore. Those are
Pretty
so,
hardcore.
Yeah,
they are. But it's a lot of fun though.
I grew up in the Midwest in Kansas and in the K-State territory, Kansas State, and yeah, if you were caught wearing a KU t-shirt around town, you better watch your back.
You're in trouble, right?
Yes.
You're in trouble.
Yes.
So,
That's
but thank you for allowing me to be here. This is awesome. I checked out your work too. You have great work.
Oh,
love
thank you.
Website. Yeah, and you shoot some weddings too, right?
Yeah, I have shot some weddings. I feel like my calling is families. That's where I feel my calling. I do love shooting weddings, and I shoot a couple here and there, but I really do feel like when I'm photographing a family, well, when I'm photographing anyone, but I tried to analyze, like, why do I love this? Like, would I do this if I was, didn't care about the money or anything? And I really think I would keep doing it because when I am behind the lens with a client, it's like I'm 100% in the moment. Right. And it's just magical, and I love it. I love it.
There's something about what we do that's so special and important that a lot of people take for granted, I think.
Yes.
There's a lot of the relationships that we build, and there's also, it's important, even though with today's age of cell phones, I mean, cell phones these days take so many, today's phone, they're so awesome that they take great photos, but at the same time, I think a true photographer have an eye in just really capturing something that, that people don't normally see in themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yes, I agree. Well, and I think it's because, photography is, everyone has access to cameras. And so really what I feel like what we add as photographers is the art of it. And so it's not the equipment. It's not, it's kind of goes deeper than that. Let's see. Someone just said, let's see. Aaron Graham, Passion Project, says snapshots in time to remember memories more vividly when our memories aren't able to. I cherish pictures. Awesome. Well, okay, so we know a little bit about your growing up, that you grew up in the Philippines, and that you came here when you were 14. And I saw a photo, I got to pull it up, of your darling family on your Instagram page. Okay, I have to flip this around so I can show everyone your family.
While you're doing, I'm gonna take a sip of water. I'm somehow thirsty today.
Oh yeah, I've got mine here too. Anyway, so you have a darling family. How old are your kids?
They're awesome. I just found them on the street that day, and they're not really no, I'm just kidding. So
that's funny.
My son Jacob, he is 10, going on 11, but he acts like he's 18. Claire, she is 8. She's going on 9 in February, and she acts like she's 16.
Oh.
And they're both very busy. We're all very busy. My wife, she's an assistant principal at a local high school here, and Jacob's involved in piano, sports. Claire is in gymnastics 15 hours a week. She's a gymnast.
Wow. That's hardcore.
Hardcore, yeah. So it's a lot of fun in our house. We high fives. I spend most of my time either driving them or driving to shooting, editing. Like that's my life. I have no other thing. Either I'm with them, like after this call, I'm gonna actually get ready to pick them up and take them to their respective sports, and then I'll get back to work and then pick them up again, and then dinner.
That's how I felt too. I'm like, all I do is drive my kids around. Oh, and I have to introduce you to my little puppy.
Oh, look at it. What's his name?
Her name's Priya.
Oh, it's a she. Hi, Priya.
Yeah.
She is adorable. Oh, was she the one barking earlier?
No, it was her brother barking. So
Barking?
yeah, he doesn't bark very much. Just if he thinks we're in danger, like the UPS van is dangerous.
The brown truck.
The brown truck is dangerous, but yeah, he doesn't really bark except if there's a delivery, and then he's like, "Someone's attacking our family."
Oh yeah, the brown kidnapping van.
Yes. So you mentioned you have dogs. What kind of dogs do you have?
So we have a miniature schnauzer.
Oh, okay.
So he is about 10 pounds or maybe less. Really small.
Yeah.
I would introduce him to you. His name is Dexter, but I'm here at the office today, and he's
okay.
So,
is your office at your home, or is it somewhere else?
So it's somewhere else. It's about 7 miles from my home. It's I have a studio here, and this is where my assistant is. And then I have a home office as well, where sometimes I don't really. I just kind of want to be alone, and I want to edit or do things and focus. So I just stay in my office there. Like last night, I was working while I was watching the game. So yeah. But that's awesome. Where all my servers are located. All my gear, my equipment. And then here it's more of a studio shooting, accounting stuff. My scanners are here, my computers and stuff like that.
Well, because you have a lab also. You have a print lab, is that right?
So yeah, it's a lab that we basically do the scanning for film, storage and shipping and all that stuff. That's
awesome. Okay, so tell me, how did you end up as a photographer? How did that happen?
Yeah, it's you mean like a photographer, or ended up in weddings?
Like tell us your journey. Like how did it like also I'm gonna try to make it so your face isn't covered by I don't know how to anyway. No, your face is covered by the comments, but
maybe I need to just turn it this way.
Is it someone's asking if it's a film lab?
It is a film lab. We started a lab a couple of years ago, and we've ran into some issues with basically developing and things like that. So what we do now is we outsource our developing, and then we scan the negatives here, if that makes any sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's more like, so you send us your film. It's vbphotolab.com. That's the website. Basically, we receive film, we outsource it to a couple labs that we partnered with. It's more cost efficient, it's faster, and then we get it back and then we scan it, and that's where the magic happens, is in the scanning.
That's awesome. So what percentage, sorry, I know I'm skipping around, but what percentage of your work do you shoot film versus digital?
Oh, percent. I don't know about percentage, but I could tell you a wedding, I would probably shoot 20 to 30 rolls.
Okay.
A wedding, sometimes 40, 50 rolls, depending on the light and my rhythm. If it's raining, it's different. So, I mean, the least amount of film that I've shot probably in 2018 was probably around 20 rolls.
Okay.
So that's between color and black and white.
And what out of the 20 or out of that do you tend to shoot? How much of that do you tend to shoot black and white versus color?
Black and white, probably, I want to say 40%, 40% black and white. So, and then 60% color. And then I shoot digital too. So I carry 4 or 5 cameras on me on a given wedding day.
4 or 5? Okay, tell me all the cameras.
Yeah. So
also, I don't want to forget to ask you what your favorite film stock is.
Oh, right. Yeah. So if you look at the photo on the feed, that was a photo that I posted on my Instagram. Basically, I'm wearing a Rolleiflex, a Contax 645, and also a D750 on my right and a D750 on my left with the 7200 and 2040-70. And that's kind of like my ceremony setup. And then leading up to that, I'm usually wearing a 35 and a 50 or a 35 and an 85.
Okay,
More
wait.
of the prime lenses.
I'm trying to find that photo.
I think I was on the Instaproofs. I think it'd be easier if you go to Insta. I don't know if you can do that, but it's high. It's earlier than that. I just posted it a couple of days ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I think I got it off of your.
Yeah.
Where did I get it? Oh, there you are at work. That's awesome.
So that's one of that's one.
How do you not have back problems with wearing all that stuff?
I do. Sometimes it's sore. My back's sore, but most of the time I spend about 2 hours a day at the gym.
2 hours a day?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It's I feel like I made some changes a couple of years ago about my health and the way I take care of myself, and I felt like I need to almost, it would sound funny and probably laugh, but I feel like I need to train like a professional athlete because on wedding days my mind needs to be fresh, right?
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And that's kind of like my mindset. And I've noticed, I kind of let go of my health from like 15 to about 17, 16, where I was smoking from time to time. I was just eating and really not being mindful of my health. And I need to make a change because my work's suffering. I can't think, it's hard, and I'm almost like done after 6 hours. So I was like, you know what? I need to take care of myself more, and I need to just train. And so that's what I do. I strength train. I do cardio. It's really literally 6 days a week. I'm in there for 2.5 hours.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like, I don't know how old you are, but I hit 40 last year and just hit 41, and I'm like, I can feel it, and I need to step it up with my health because, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same, and it's like I can't do what I used to. Like, it's just I go skiing and my quads burn out so fast, and I gotta step it up.
I'll be 43 in a couple of years, and I started feeling something around when I was 39, 40. I'm like, I need to make a change. And so now that's what I talk to my buddy all the time, and I said, you know what, going to train is in my mindset, either at 5 in the morning or whenever it is that day, it's clocking in work. It's part of my work. It's part of clocking in. It's part of my 16-hour day. So that's part of it. And it's paying off because last year I just felt strong, and I still continue to do so. I can shoot 2 or 3 weddings. Sometimes I'll have a triple header. Sometimes I'll have 2 weddings on one weekend. Sometimes I'll have a wedding on a Friday, and I'll have to travel on the next day to go somewhere and shoot another wedding. So, and I feel fine, and I'm not as sore, and things are good. I feel like my work has gotten better in my vision, in my mind, in a way that I can shoot freer and more loose in a way where before I'm just like such a stress case and like, oh crap, or I'll miss things maybe, or I can't carry the camera. I'm not gonna carry this camera, but like my Rolleiflex, for instance, I love my Rolleiflex. That's one of my favorite cameras.
Yeah.
My contacts. So sometimes, when I wasn't really looking after my health, I didn't want to carry those cameras because they were just too heavy, and I would just settle with my digital cameras, which there's nothing wrong with my digital cameras, but I like my Rolleiflex.
You should do some promotional, shots of yourself with all your muscles, or be like, hey, I'm in shape enough to shoot your wedding. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I wish I could put that in a selling point, but it's hard. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my head.
That's
my
awesome.
Clarity. So.
Well, I got off on a couple tangents there, but I still would love to hear your journey about how you became a photographer. So you came.
Yes.
to the United States when you were 14, and when did you first pick up a camera?
So my mother, all through my childhood life, my mother's an amateur photographer, right? So she has this
awesome.
Canon 35 millimeter AE1, and I've always wanted that when I was little, and I was always been curious, but she said, don't touch it. So she gave me a 110 camera. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's a 110 pink camera. And I remember that camera. And then during the volcano eruption, that big calamity that we had to endure, my father gave me a video camera. And I've always been fascinated with video. And actually, my love started with video. So I just love shooting things. And I just love documenting things. And I documented our whole experience. And my mother at the time was here. This was 1991. And we sent her the tape, and I never saw it back. I don't know. She said she misplaced it. So I'm like, man, that would be so awesome to get that tape back if we can find it. I'm sure it's somewhere around the house. But that's how it started. And then it kind of stopped. We moved to California, stopped the whole time, moved to Charleston. Nothing. I didn't really do a whole lot. Nothing really significant until around 2000 when I graduated from Clemson. My mother gave me a camera, a digital Rebel camera. I think it was a Rebel. And she said, hey, here's a camera. I need you to take pictures of my stuff, my products that I'm going to sell.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, I was like, well, I don't know anything about this camera. She's like, well, just take a class or something. Here's a class. She gave me a sheet in the local community college to take a class, and I did. And this was fast forward 2002, and at the time I was working with her, and she said, I don't want to pay all these photographers. Typical Asian immigrant, right? I don't want to play. They're cheap.
She's an entrepreneur. She's smart.
She's an entrepreneur. She's like, I don't want to pay these guys $300, $200 an hour to take pictures of my stuff. I want you to figure it out. And you know, so as you can tell, I'm Asian. She's Asian, and you know, they're like cheap, and they're always looking for things to how to, you know, save money, and that was the start of it, and I loved it. And then so I had that camera. I had a friend, a neighbor who had a friend that was going to do a wedding, and I said, you know what, I don't want to. Because she was getting married, and I said, I don't want to shoot a wedding ever. Like, I don't want to be responsible for it.
You said that?
Yes, I said that. I don't want to just be responsible for someone's memories. And then at the time, and this is 2003 or 2002, at the time, I actually just kind of researched some old wedding photos, and, you know, people were like wearing these yellow dresses, and they're like standing very traditionally. You know, it wasn't me, right? So the young lady said, you know, I'll pay you $500. All I need are 2 pictures. I just want 2 pictures at the altar of my family and then my husband. Everything else, you can just do whatever you want. And I go, okay, well, like, you mean anything I want? Like, anything I want to shoot? She's like, yeah, anything you want. Just capture the moment. Like, whatever. It's like, okay. So I took my mother's camera with me and shot it for $500. And
nice.
And I loved it. And that was the beginning of a lot of it, because I gave her what she wanted and more, and then at the same time I was able to capture a lot of like just really photojournalistic candid photos that I felt like it described the emotion of the day. Like, she was crying during her first dance with her dad. It was a beautiful day, and I thought, wow, I really like that. That was really cool. And then another friend asked me to do the same, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know about this. So I did it, and I was like, man, this is I'm kind of good at this. And then I loved
degree at Clemson. What was your degree in at Clemson?
Oh, I was in business school in Clemson. So I was in operations, industrial. I was in engineering at first, and then I switched down to operations management, which is the business school. So you weren't
thinking to go into an artistic field at all. You were business.
I was business. My parents were entrepreneurs, so I grew up, you know, working. I tease my mother all the time. She put me to work in the factory counting beads and stuff like that. She's like, hey, I'll pay you 25 cents an hour if you count these beads. You know, when you're growing up in a in an immigrant family, it's a different type of mentality, you know, like you work in the warehouse, you go help do this. And so I got a lot of experience and gained a lot of knowledge on the business side, how to run a business, what's important.
Real life experience. It sounds like your mom was a good businesswoman.
Yeah, she never went to college, but she has like some serious street, like MBA, like crazy. Like
That's awesome.
She's very artistic. Anything that she makes just is awesome. It's beautiful. She's 73 now. And
wow.
I feel like I give a lot of credit to her as far as my artistic abilities. And yeah, she's awesome.
That's so cool. So you did those first couple weddings and you're like, I'm good at this. I like this. And then where did it go from there?
From there, I kind of looked around who's in the area, what people are doing. And a lot of them are very, on the traditional side that I did not want to be. And at the time, Charleston wasn't really big with weddings. There were a lot of high-end weddings that I was looking at. And when I looked at those weddings, I was like, man, how do I get to be that? Like, how do I get to shoot those weddings? And, you know, with my mindset, it's like, you know, I said, you just have to build things. You have to start from the bottom and just kind of work your way up. So I started learning more things. I started attending workshops. Some were really, really awesome and some were not so awesome. And there was a place, I found a forum called DWF. And you can probably tell my age by when I mentioned that, if there's any of you out there listening to this. DWF was Digital Wedding Forum, and this was probably one of the platforms back in the day that really educated a lot of photographers. And so I went to those conferences and workshops, learned a lot. From there, you know, I just kind of see where the attention was as far as where the bride's looking for photographers. You know, I started having 5 weddings booked, and then another year 8 weddings, and the next thing you know is I had 15, and the next thing you know, I'm shooting 35 plus.
Wow. So were you working a regular job at this time, or how did it transition from kind of on the side to full time?
Yes, so I was working so when I first graduated Clemson, I worked at a textile mill, and then I came back. That's in Greenwood near Clemson. And then I came back to work with my family. So around that time, that's when my mother gave me the camera to learn from. And then around that time, that's when I started being asked to shoot things like portraits and weddings. And then, yeah, I was working simultaneously with my family. I was working and traveling, and then I would be talking to a client and I'd be in Nashville at a sales job for my family and be like, hey, yeah, I'll be there on Saturday. Yeah, see you at 11. And I would drive back home Friday night, pack up my gear, and shoot a wedding. This was around 2005, 2006. So I was going full time, full force on both. And it was hard, you know, because as you know, probably being an entrepreneur, you have to think about your expenses and your income. And at the time, you know, there's not a significant amount of income coming from photography, so I had to sustain that with we just bought a house at the time, we just got married, so I was like, okay, maybe I'll do this on the side. And then it was becoming more and more of like, man, this is really, really busy here. This is really awesome. I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it. I love the people. I love the families that I'm meeting every week.
It's feeding your soul. It's like
work.
It feels like it's
exactly. Yeah, I would stay up. I would be like, I think 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts, but I loved it. You know, I would get off work at 5, and then I would go to my shoot and then edit, and wake up the next day, go to my work, and then do it all over again. So it was a ride. It was a good ride. I don't know if I could do that right now. But yeah, it was awesome. That's how it just happened. You know, I just put my head down and work. And did it. But I loved it. You know, it was huge. It would be a different story if I hated it.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, and can I ask what your average wedding, like what is your average bride and groom, what would they be paying for you to photograph their wedding?
So I don't know about averages, but depending on what I'm shooting probably some elopements, so those are a little cheaper. I'll shoot anything, right? So I'm not picky. I'm not like, hey, you know what, your wedding's not high end enough. I'm like, hey, I'm available on Monday. You want me to shoot it? All right, I'll be there.
I love that, because some people, I do know of some photographers who are like, they won't shoot certain types of people, or they look at their Facebook pages to see if they're their vibe. And
right.
Anyway,
I have a website. I have an Instagram account. If you are awesome enough to follow me and like my work and call me and email me, that's a whole process already. You know, to look at my website, follow me, or look at and then call me or email me. Fill up my inquiry is pretty long. Like, you have to put your date, location, and then I'm like, tell me about your wedding. If you take the time to fill all those out, I am privileged. I'm honored to be there.
That's such a great.
And that's why I don't really, I know a lot of people put a cap and they get tired. I'm not like that. I'm like, hey, if I'm available and, you know, my schedule allows it, and I can be there, and it's not impossible for me to get to you, I will be there. And that's how I just live it.
Well, and you must have a supportive wife to pull that off, right?
You know, there are two things, probably three things on my list that I give glory to. And one is, I give glory to God to all my blessings. Because of him, I'm able to live my dream. Number two, my wife. I give a lot of credit to her, Courtney. She is, she's beautiful. She's kind, and she's always been so supportive of what I do. And without her, we have two children. She has to pick up a lot of the slack that when I'm not around. I'm always gone, like almost. I mean, I shot 40 weddings last year.
Wow.
And that's between travel and double headers, you know, and I missed a lot. I missed a lot of gymnastics meet. I missed a lot of basketball games, football games, and we always just coordinate, and she's always been so understanding and loving. So that plays a huge part of I don't want to say my success, but my ability to fulfill.
Yes, you can say my success, because you are. Yes, you are.
That's
why that's why we want to talk to you and find out how you did it all. But
thank you.
Awesome.
She has to have all the credit. I just show up and do the work, and I couldn't have done it if she's not there, you know, without her support. So
that's awesome. So, okay, back to the price point. So what's
So I want to say, like, if it's a full 10-hour wedding, it bounces from, if it's a weekday, if it's a high season weekend, April and October, typically high season. I look at the bookings, and then I also look at how much we have as far as that month. Do I really need this wedding? Do I not need it? If somebody, my formula is, so basically it starts probably in the mid 5,000s as far as my price, and it goes up to, we've had clients that have spent probably a total sum of around 25. This is like with albums and days of work and prints and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, it all falls between that. I want to say probably on average, a client would probably spend around within the 8,000 to 10,000 on photography, and that's like, you know, ordering albums and you know, prints and engagement sessions and bridal sessions. So it's all going to vary. I have a formula that I could probably explain it, but it'll take a long time as far as how.
It's okay. It's just interesting to hear where people's price points, you know, the general range.
Yeah.
Because I always think, like, when you're trying to make it as a photographer, it's very important to know if someone is a part-time photographer and is not the breadwinner, you don't want to be following that person for advice on how to be a breadwinner. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
right.
And if you're, you know, paying the bills with your photography, and you know, you're looking for someone to emulate, I think that it's important to kind of have an idea, you know.
Right. And you know, I think the bottom line to a lot of people make a mistake of asking, oh, how much does this guy charge? How much do you charge? But in the end, it's a business, and there's
Yes.
so many source of the streams of revenue from that main business. Like for instance, a wedding. For instance, if you shoot a wedding in October, there's a lot of opportunities there to drive revenue, right? So there could be, maybe you can upsell prints, upsell albums, or framed, or matted, or canvas, and that's where Instaproofs come in, I think, and Instaproofs have helped me a lot. And when I say when they average 8 to 10, that's when people outside of the wedding, like the bride and groom or their families, that's when there's a strategy of when we go to, say, a wedding, we shoot a wedding, I ask my second shooters, hey, make sure you get photos of maybe the guests. If you see a guest that's together, maybe their family's there, take a picture of that family, and then maybe they'll buy it for after the wedding from Instaproofs. So we use like the emails that Instaproofs has. Like we do sales. If there's a holiday, for instance, we just did a big Christmas 30% off print sales off the Instaproofs. So we emailed everyone that logged into that one wedding. So they saw, when they see their photo and they see that email, oh, I went to that wedding. Oh yeah, the photographer took a picture of me and my family, and then they'll buy it. And then we also added a minimum order where, because it's a lot better for them in the end as far as the customer. If they buy one photo for $10 for 4x6, and we're charging a standard of $15 shipping, I think it would be better if they buy 2, 3, 4 photos and pay $15 shipping versus one photo. And then, so we started adding a $50 minimum order.
And then they're going to have more photos, and they'll be happier.
And they'll be happier. And then we use the self-fulfillment through White House. Okay. And they just do everything for us. We just upload the photos, and when there's an order, then they'll just ship it right out. So we don't have to worry about it. So it's pretty cool. And those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. Like I could start, if I shoot a wedding because it's a Monday, I'll shoot a wedding for 4,000 or 5,000, and then maybe hope that they'll buy something afterwards, like print, and then boost the revenue per wedding. So a lot of people, I think, are making a mistake of just saying, okay, yeah, I'll charge you 3,000, and then here are the files, and then they just let go of the prints. And I've talked to several photographers before where, prints are dead and they're not buying. No. I was like, no, it's not. And then I didn't want to brag. I didn't want to tell them what I do. Sometimes if they ask me, I said, all right, look, I've helped several people, lead them to Instaproofs, and said, hey, you know what? This is what I do. Maybe you can do this. It's like when you go to the cocktail hour, when you go to the reception, don't forget about the family members, like the grandfather and the grandmother, like that photo that you showed earlier that you love. I mean,
I love it.
They bought several prints of that photo. Those are important. And then this goes back to, I think it ties into my shooting style. Like I love families, and when I talk to a potential bride, they ask me what my style is. I said, my style is about like families. It's like, I want you to have what I would like to have at 43. I was like, I don't know how old you are. You're probably late 20s, early 30s, but I'm going to give you the photos that I like, that you're going to like when you're 43.
Yes. I think that's a great way to go about it, because you can only have so many pictures of yourself, right, on your wedding day, and you're not going to, or your
shoes, or your dress, or your ring, or your bouquet. We never sell prints of those things, ever. But you know what we sell a lot after the wedding through Instaproofs is family photos. And I started seeing that probably about 5 years ago, and I think I joined Instaproofs longer than that.
I think Adam said 8 years ago.
Was it 8 years ago? Yeah, through John Canlas. Yeah, John is a good friend of mine, and I
got to interview him too. He's awesome.
Oh, he's awesome. He taught me a lot. He taught me a lot of things, and he is wonderful.
I got to interview him in person in his house.
Oh, really? In Hawaii or Utah?
In Utah, after he moved here, or to the mainland.
He's wonderful. I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, that's kind of like how I kind of do things on the wedding side. It's all kind of integrated, and I'm still I don't know everything. I just, you know, try things out, and if this doesn't work, let's try this. If that doesn't work, let's try that. I'm always just constantly thinking about what the customers, what the clients would be happy with, and then just kind of living with that principle, you know?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. That is such great advice. Well, I feel like I've only been talking to you for like 10 minutes, but it's been like 50 minutes, and I feel
Has it
bad.
been?
Yes,
Holy
it's
cow.
like, I know, it goes by so fast. One of my favorite things is meeting new people and getting to hear their story and learning from them. And, I've been an Instaproofs user for a while, and I switched, like, I was a shoot and burn photographer, and then Instaproofs was my first step into, providing prints. And then I switched over to in-person sales. And then I didn't quite know how to integrate that into Instaproofs, that whole thing. And then since I've been working with Instaproofs and talking to all these amazing photographers like you, I've gotten so many ideas on how to use Instaproofs, and it's just like endless. And
it is. It's, I've been, I don't know if Adam is listening, but I've been poached a lot by a lot of other companies, and a lot of my friends like, oh, you should switch these people or these people. I was like, no, man. It's like, well, and then I started asking them, tell me about your email system. Tell me about your sales system. Tell me about how do you do this? It's like Instaproofs has the best system on sales. They may not have the prettiest, bells and whistles and all that stuff. I mean, I think they made significant improvements on how a lot of things look. But you can't beat the main purpose there. I tell my buddy, I said, the main purpose there is for you to sell prints and to give the clients what they need, what they want, without having to go to Walgreens and ruin your
Walgreens is like a terrible.
Oh gosh, that's actually on my contract that I'm not responsible for any of the quality when you take it to Walgreens. But yeah,
I used to have it in my contract. Walmart, like, you can print if they bought the files, I'd say you can print them anywhere but Walmart, not there.
Right. Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah. It is crazy. So I'm very grateful for the Instaproofs team for continuously doing all kinds of improvements. I think they've come a long way since 8 years ago. And like I said, I've been poached by other companies, and I'm like, no, man, you don't get it. It's not about how pretty it is.
Is like unbelievable. It really is. It's like you can do whatever you want with it, and it's every time I talk to someone, I learn something new. Like, oh, I could be doing this differently. And for example, I recently started offering art prints on my Instaproof site. So, I can put up a picture of Mount Rushmore that I took on family vacation, and
Right. Yeah. The other thing too is lately, I don't know when they implemented this, maybe the last 12 months or so, but the fact that I can share images to our vendors. By a click of a button, I just tell them, hey, because they always request, like, at a given wedding, you're working with 10 to 15 vendors. You have the band, you have the florals, and the wedding planner and the venue. So they're all emailing me after the wedding, after they see the teasers, like, oh, we want to share the images and all that stuff. How can we get photos? And a lot of times I just give those to the vendors, and they say, and I give them the link of the wedding. I tell them, hey, select your favorites, and I'll email you a link to download them. So they don't need to see 1,000 photos of people dancing. They just want to see photos they can put on their Instagram to illustrate their work, as far as, say, the florist. So they'll send me a favorites of 10, 15. I log in, I click a button, and then they get the photos.
I just discovered that the other day too. I did a bat mitzvah, so I photographed a bat mitzvah, and the DJ, he wanted some photos, and so I said, just favorite the ones you like, and then boom. Right. It's just so easy.
It's so easy. It's I'm so grateful for that, because it just makes my life easier versus sending them a USB and going to the post office and spending
I hate
money on
mailing
stuff.
I hate going to the post office. Anything that has to go to the post office.
It is the worst. It's the
worst.
worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate having to do that. Oh.
That's how also we deliver teasers to brides, to their families. We send them the link. Hey, you can download it here. You know, there's just so many. I don't know what I would do without Instaproofs. I would be lost.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing how you use it. And do you have any like hot tips or something you've tried that's a new way that you used it that you had never tried before, or anything like that? As far as, because I'm always looking for tips. I'm like, okay, I didn't know until I started working for Instaproofs, like doing this kind of stuff and doing social media. I didn't know about the invoicing, and I like,
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the invoicing.
Yes.
Love it.
One good tip, I think, if you are using or haven't used Instaproofs yet, if there's a holiday coming up, and your birthday. My birthday is on January 14th, which is next week.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. You should plan on doing a sale, not just on your birthday, but especially your birthday. But like if there's a Valentine's Day coming up, if there's a, what's coming up, Easter, like going back to this holiday, like Thanksgiving, you should plan on doing sales like 1 week before that event, and do like a 15% off, 30% off on prints. People love it. Your customers would love it, because sometimes, you know, they want to buy 100 photos, and if you're pricing your 4x6 at $10 or $15, that's a significant amount of money. But if they're getting 30% off,
yeah,
you know, they're going to be more enticed to buy. So that's my biggest tip on it. I tell a lot of friends that method. They love it. I think it's like a win-win for both sides, the
yes.
customers, the clients, and then themselves too. So
that's one of my things that I've been thinking, okay, I need to sit down and write out all my sales for this coming year, and
right.
tweak them from what I had in the past.
Exactly. And then if you're shooting a wedding and you want to, say, easily distribute photos to the vendors, you can send them the link to that wedding and just kind of tell them what I was saying earlier. Say, hey, here's the wedding photos for John and Jane. Select your favorites. I would be more than happy to share images to you. Just don't forget to tag me. And then they'll email you back. It's like, hey, we added it. And you go to the back end, click two buttons, literally, and then they will receive the photos.
Yeah, I used to think I had to give them permission for the whole gallery for someone like that, but yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. And then they see your gallery, and they're like appreciative.
Yeah, most of the vendors, they just want a nice photo of the bride and groom. Like if it's a florist, the flowers. They don't care about the drunk people dancing. You know, they don't care about like the bride getting ready or getting her makeup done, or you know, they just want a picture of the bouquet. Most of them. Things like that. So they just want literally 10, maybe under 25 photos. They don't want all of your stuff, you know?
Yep.
So
I think that's so true. Okay. The real Marcus B says, what system are you using? Instaproofs.
Instaproofs. Yes, definitely Instaproofs. You should sign up. It's, I want to say I pay $50 a month for, it's super cheap. Like, I mean, I know that's still a significant amount of money, but you can upload. It's on the website. I just saw it earlier. It's like 200,000 photos, and then it's, man, if you do it right, you will.
Well, and also you can do. There's a free one, and there's also like a $10 a month one. There's a $25 a month one. So you can kind of just grow. I mean, you can get what you need, so you're not paying for more than you need. And I'm getting the 2-minute warning from Instagram, so I guess we better sign off. But if you're watching right now and you didn't get a chance to see the beginning of the interview, this interview will be on replay for 24 hours, and then eventually it will be up on the Instaproofs blog, and then eventually there will also be a write-up of this interview. So I hope everyone watching has had a great time getting to know Virgil Bunao. Now I said it right?
Bunao, not later.
Bunao, not later. And I have had a great time getting to know you too, Virgil. And if I'm ever well, I am going to come to Charleston. And when I do, I am totally going to look you up and see if you're around, because I would love to meet you in person.
Definitely, definitely. You should do that. I am going to be waiting for that call, Rebecca.
Okay.
This video will be also on YouTube, I think. I just researched it.
Oh, yeah. It's on YouTube, but the link, like, you can get to the link from Instaproofs. But yeah, it's like giving me the count. Do you see the countdown on the top of your screen, or is it just on mine?
I think it's just on yours.
Oh yeah, it says 38 seconds. But I have loved talking to you. Thank you so much, Virgil. It's such an honor to talk to you. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
See ya.